Yo, what's up, guys? Coach Cam back again with another video. This time it's a leg day that I did recently here at the community center. 1 set to muscle failure for every exercise. Try to do this with an amount of exercises that you can recover from. Track your training and push yourself as hard as possible, and you should be progressing every workout. So I track my training and I find that I am progressing, which is what you want to see. But in the workout itself, the only time I'm trying to progress technically is when I look at my previous workout stats and I purposefully add weight. So when I purposefully add weight to the exercise, I'm determining that it's time to add weight. So I'm kind of pushing the progression in that regard. But other than that, my body's doing the rest on its own. So that's the point of exercise, is to stimulate the muscle and then rest and let it adapt before your next workout. Before you give it another stimulus or another assault, another threat, you need to be recovered from the last one. You're not getting benefits from hitting the muscle over and over submaximally multiple days in a row. I find that that's not ideal. You're going to get some results. So let's think of it like this. Everything will give you some results, right, with exercise. Everything can get you a little bit better than if you didn't do anything at all. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that this is the only way to train. I'm not saying this is the only way to get results. People get results training differently than this, right? People get results training 2 hours a day every day. People get results doing gymnastics or doing a sport, and they happen to get exercise-like side effects from that sport. But a lot of sports, it's not worth doing it that way because there's an injury risk involved, right? I would never tell you go play tackle football if you want to look jacked like some of your favorite, football players. It's not worth the risk. You can train in a gym to look like an athlete. The idea to train like an athlete to look like an athlete is not true, right? There is a famous YouTuber that said that line for the last couple decades and has millions of subs, but it's not accurate. You can train your muscles, each muscle of your body, and get it bigger and fitter at the same time, and you'll be looking like an athlete, but you won't have done what other people deem as athletic, right? This is training your body 101. If you have a sport or you have an activity that you need to get better at, go practice it, right? For me, I'm a firefighter, so I will go practice firefighting. I'm not doing this in the gym and expecting myself to be an amazing firefighter because of what I did in the gym. You can be super fit in the gym and a terrible firefighter if you don't ever practice and train for it. So it takes both the physical training of the muscles and training the exact activity that you're looking to improve at or compete at, whatever it might be, right? So let's think about what I'm doing compared to other, I'll call low intensity activities like cycling, running, stairs, stuff like that. I'm contracting my hamstrings right now as hard as I possibly can and getting the most direct benefits to the muscles of my body. I'm not walking upstairs and hoping that I'm training my quads, hamstrings, and glutes and calves. I'm actually hitting each one at an intensity appropriate for that muscle, right? So I can select the weight that I need to stimulate that muscle in its function, in its contraction, right? So thankfully there's machines here to do this. It's 2024. We don't have to act like we don't have machines and act like we're limited on equipment. We're not limited on equipment. We have equipment. So then maybe the next argument is, well, why use machines? Free weights are better. And that's a myth. That is a complete myth. It's been pushed down our throats for decades, but there's no evidence to suggest it. Any muscle in your body You might say, oh, free weights train your stabilizers. What's a stabilizer? Any muscle can play a role of stabilization during a different exercise. The best example that I've heard is when you're standing doing barbell bicep curls, your lower back and glutes and hamstrings are stabilizing. Are you doing that to train your low back, glutes, and hamstrings? No, you would never do that, right? You would target them directly. So it's important to target your muscles as directly as you can and progress over time. That is the goal with training. So, and when you train very, very hard, as I do in my training, which even though if you can't tell, right? Even if my facial expressions aren't revealing how hard I'm working, you have to trust that the muscle is not able to contract any longer. Therefore, it is muscle failure. It is as hard as I can go on this given day. So with that being said, when you train very, very hard, you stimulate your cardiovascular system. Another point that people don't understand. They think that if you grab weights, oh, it's anaerobic. You're skipping cardio today. No, I'm not skipping my cardio. I am training my muscles until my cardiovascular system is getting cooked as well. I'm not just doing 5 quick reps and setting the weight down. I'm doing controlled reps until the muscle is exhausted. And that recruits your cardiovascular system much, much more than just using a heavy weight for a couple reps, setting it back down. That's how most people train with weights, right? And it's quite honestly, it's a little too heavy to get your cardiovascular system involved. So pick a more moderate weight and you will find that, hey, that you can tap into your cardiovascular system. A lot of people already know this and they think like this. They think high reps is cardio. Well, why is high reps cardio? Because you're doing more work in the set. It's taking you longer to reach failure. Which I take probably that same amount of time that a high rep training person would take, but I don't do high reps except for this set right here. Still getting used to the shrugs and picking the right weight, and I think I did like 20 plus reps, but that's such a small range of motion that's liable to happen sometimes. But ultimately, you want to train with an appropriate load and for an appropriate amount of time. I shoot for a minute and a half, kind of in that range for each exercise. Quick flex here is right in the entryway of the gym, so I do it pretty quick in case anyone's trying to come in. Thanks guys for watching. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.